My friends, welcome to Once Upon a Pipe. I'm actually at work and it's pretty dark in here because we just lost our power. So, that kind of gives me an opportunity to show you a little something. But first, I should tell you what I've got here in my corncob pipe. I'm kind of finishing up a bowl of Peterson's Connemara Black. And, well, I've just been sipping on this off and on throughout the day. So, not too terribly long ago, my in laws, who are missionaries, they just retired actually from teaching at a Christian college here in Kentucky. And even though they're in their 70s, they decided, hey, why not take on full time missionary work? And that they've decided to do. So they had to clear some things out of their home. And one of them is this wonderful little machine here. Now, some of you already know what this is. I'm looking at that crank handle. But let me lift this up for you. It does work, just not in the best of shape. And you have no power, right? But look what you can do. Let's see if I can make this work. Here's the brake here. Take my needle. You hear that? Some old time gospel right here. Light this again. To increase the volume, just open the doors. Mm-hmm. That's our rain. Got a nice little thunderstorm come over. It's knocked out the power. I'll leave that open and get some light in here. Wow, that was some serious lightning. So, I didn't do anything to this Victrola. Literally, just had my kids bring it to the shop, and I cranked it up. It needs a little bit of work, but how wonderful it is to have something like that on a day like today. I'm getting ready to change blends as soon as I finish out what's left of this Connemara Black and put in a local blend called John's English from Schwab's off of Southland Drive in Lexington, Kentucky. You know, even though the electricity is out, I'm listening to this rainfall. Got an old Victrola. Got a mug right back here. There it is, full of sweet and, well, it's a 50-50 sweet, unsweet tea. And I'm listening to that wonderful rainfall in the back and enjoying this pipe. Quite peaceful. Speaking of all this rain, some of you, if you've watched the news in the past week and a half or so, you might have seen or heard that parts of eastern Kentucky were heavily flooded, and that is true. As a matter of fact, my in-laws were, I'm gonna set this phone down and empty this pipe out. My in-laws were affected by that. They were on their way back from Nashville, Tennessee, and they weren't even able to make it home because the road was completely blocked.
Business here in eastern Kentucky. I talked to a family just a little while ago who described a heartbreaking situation. In the first place, they live up high, and as you talk to people around here, for many people, the difference between losing a house and having a home, the difference between life or death, simply had to do with how high up your house sat here in eastern Kentucky. And they described a situation where after the rains came and the flash flood started building, they could hear the cries of neighbors, people calling for help, but they couldn't help them because they couldn't get across the water.
So in their way home, it kind of turned out that they didn't have a way to actually access their home because they didn't have a way to access their home because the road was completely washed out, completely covered. Last I heard, there were over 34 people that perished in the hills of eastern Kentucky due to the flooding. Today is Wednesday. We just had the president here on Monday. He landed at Bluegrass Airport, and the United States Marines and the Secret Service took over our FBO there on the west side of the field. So there was no flying, zero for general aviation. Everything was shut down. In fact, Lexington, Georgetown, Danville, London, all the surrounding airports were just completely shut down while the president and his entourage were here visiting folks in eastern Kentucky. So, yeah, I got to see some of the drone footage, and let me tell you, it was absolutely devastating. The people in eastern Kentucky, I don't know if you can hear over that rumble or not. The people in eastern Kentucky, a lot of them are relatively poor. You basically have two classes. You have those that have and those that have not. You have the rich and the poor, and there's not a lot of middle class. And there's not a lot of opportunities up there. So the people that were affected by that flood mainly were just a lot of the poor people. And they don't have a way to instantly rebuild. The economy is not very good. You don't have, 100 stores right around the corner that you can just go to and get supplies and where people can go and work. It's just not that way up there in the hills. So when they lost everything, they lost everything. And it's very, very, very heartbreaking. That was just one tragedy that will forever change a lot of those people's lives, and very, very sad. I had a meeting at the airport the other day, the Lexington Flying Club, and afterwards I got to talk to a gentleman there who was giving me here comes some lightning. Hold on. Some thunder. Is it going to go? All right. That told me some details about a pilot that crash landed at Cynthiana Airport. Zero India 8. Zero I-8 is the designator for that airport. And it was a tragedy. Don't know much about it right now except for the fact that he was in a Piper Cub. He had a passenger. The passenger is the one that did not survive the accident. The pilot is still in the hospital with critical injuries. After the meeting yesterday, I was talking to someone that knows that family of the lady that got killed rather intimately. In fact, they were just at Oshkosh together. And it really was tragic. The lady that got killed, her son, who just got his pilot's license, 17 or 18, I think 18 years old, just got his pilot's license a couple or 3 weeks ago, took off, flew, and landed. Didn't fly, but maybe 20 minutes. And the mom was in a Cub, Piper Cub, as a passenger. And my understanding, they went up, and it was about 7 minutes of flight before the pilot attempted to land back in Cynthiana. A very strong storm came up, and the Cub just stalled out, and coming in low speed. Now you have this incredible storm. Not sure what the winds were, but I'm sure they were gusting pretty high. And the airplane just loses lift and goes straight in, and then it was all messed up. Ended up a great tragedy. So the young man that was flying right before the Cub crashed, that was his mother in the Cub, and I believe it was her birthday. And so he was there and saw his mother in that wreckage, and I just could not imagine. That's a lot for a young man to take on. I don't know, my heart just goes out. It's by the grace of God. I go up and come back down. I mean, anybody that flies, that could be me. We do everything that we can to be safe, or at least we should. But sometimes things happen. So, prayers for that family, for sure. And my understanding, I was told that the lady that was killed in that crash, her father was also killed in a plane crash. So I don't know how long ago that was, but for her dad to die, for her to die, and then for her son to see his mom like that, just devastating. And I heard at another airport in Kentucky, in Bardstown, an airport I was looking to go to this Saturday for the breakfast. I got word yesterday during our flight club meeting that a passenger stepped out of a plane, and the pilot did not shut the plane down, and she walked into the prop of the airplane while it was turned on, and then of course it was very tragic. Just not much that you could do. So she walked right into that prop. Learned a good lesson. When we go up, there's no guarantee that we're going to come back down, but we do everything that we can to make that happen. And then other things that we can prevent, that are on us, like making sure that aircraft is turned off before anyone gets out or comes in. Just safety 101. So, yeah, all within the span of about 2 weeks. There's a lot going on here in Kentucky. Well, I'm going to start wrapping things up here. I hope that you guys out there be safe. Count your blessings, everyone. You know, please count your blessings. I know those of you who've been tuned into my channel long enough know, for me, my faith is in God, in Jesus Christ, and I know that if I do die suddenly, if something happens to me while I'm on my motorcycle or in an airplane or something like that, I mean, I know I'm gonna rest in His arms. But I tell you what, the reality is we have to count our blessings every day, because we don't know what day will be our last. And I'm certain all of those people in Eastern Kentucky, the family of that young lady that got killed in Cynthiana, as well as the lady that was killed in Bardstown, everybody thought they were coming home. And unfortunately they didn't. So please stay safe out there. As always, I do thank you for tuning in to Once Upon a Pipe. Sorry this wasn't a joyful post, but you know, that's the reality of life, my friends. I'll see you here next time.